Welcome to Codex History of Video Games. I'm Mike Coletta.
And I am Tyler Osby.
And today we're doing our 2026 countdown. Do you like my dancing continuing? Do
Yeah,
you like it?
2026 countdown.
Or 2026? No, never mind. 2025 games of the... Well, you know, a professional podcast would redo this intro, but we're not going to do that. So we're talking about our favorite games and then picking our game of the year. Each of us, I feel like, should have a separate game of the year.
I
Right?
agree.
Do that way.
And mine will surprise everyone.
I don't know.
You're
not going to
yours.
believe what he chooses.
Yeah, number one will shock you.
So I'm torn between two, and I haven't made the decision yet, and I'm going to make it on the podcast.
Okay.
We'll talk about that. We're going to kind of talk about, I guess, well, let's talk about it now. What do you consider a game of the year? Like, what does game of the year mean?
To me, game of the year is just what was my favorite game that was released this year.
Favorite game? And so, because, like, what, when you say favorite, I guess, let's, like, I'm trying to drill down into this, right? Because you mean, like, innovative? Do you mean
I
just
mean,
fun? And you were like, this is the funnest game for me this year?
I mean it very unscientifically. There is no objectivity in this whatsoever, which I think is silly when you do reviews of anything that art. I don't think there is objectivity anyway, but it's just what was my favorite game this year? Like, what was my favorite game that came out this year? And then I think we should also talk about maybe some other games we played this year that maybe didn't come out this year that we also really loved and just want to talk about as well.
Yeah, see, you saying that just helped me make my choice, I think. I think I know the choice. And I think the listener, if they've been listening, is going to know my choice. So,
Yeah. I think mine will surprise nobody.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. I think mine will surprise no one either. If we're going off of personal favorite games.
Yeah. What was your favorite game this year? That's
Okay.
it. That's all. Because it's everybody has their own, and if we try to apply some sort of like objective lens to it, then you would think that
Yeah.
what?
Like a rubric?
Yeah, like
That's what
if you
I
try
was
to put a rubric to it, then it's like, well, then everybody would just have the same game of the year, and that's not interesting. You listen to other people, like multiple people's favorites of the year, because you want different perspectives, right? So I don't think we should even attempt any sort of like objectivity or applying a rubric to something. I think the only thing is that it has to have come out this year.
Yeah, that's the only rule, is that it had to come out in 2025. And I got confused by that already, because I was looking at some games and I'm like, wait, that didn't come out. It came out in 2024.
I know. I was like, when did I play Persona 3 Reload? 2 years ago.
I had to look up Helldivers 2's release date, because I'm like, no, that came out a while ago. That was like 2 years ago. But okay, so in that case, this is going to be good, because we're going to pick our games of the year, and people are going to disagree. And then in our social media posts, people get angry at us and they fight, and then we get engagement.
That's what it's all about. For the algorithm, Mike, for the algorithm.
It's for the algorithm. Hey, everyone, I just want to let you know, as a podcast, we're really trying to like be a professional podcast on social media, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I hate it so much. I'm trying so hard. I hate social media so much. I'm having a really hard time with it, but we'll be fine. So with that, let's get started. So we're each gonna go back and forth with some games that we played, maybe that we liked but we didn't think made game of the year. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, that sounds good.
And I don't think our lists collide here, looking at our lists here.
A little bit. There's at least one collision, which is good.
Dude, should we talk about... Okay, we could talk... that collision's kind of in the same spot as us. So I'm going to talk about a game that kind of surprised me first.
Okay.
Then I'll go first, if you're cool with that.
Yeah.
And that was Avowed. Remember
Ooh,
Avowed?
Yeah.
So this was the game that was in the Pillars of Eternity universe. And I never played a Pillars of Eternity game. And it was very much like a fantasy Outer Worlds, also made by Obsidian Entertainment, so that makes sense. And it just kind of held my attention way more than I thought it would. And also, when you combine magic and guns, it makes the game more fun. That's
It was
how
like
I feel
Oblivion with guns?
It was like Oblivion with guns, is how I describe it. Because they had but like flintlock guns.
Yeah.
Like they had like blunderbusses and stuff. But I was a wizard with a pistol, and I thought that was really funny. And that alone carried me through playing the whole game. Like that play style made it fun for me. And that's why I found my enjoyment. I don't think if I played like a melee class, if I'd have had as much fun as a wizard with a gun. So there we go. So that's why I enjoyed Avowed. I know nothing about the lore or the universe, and I didn't bother trying, and I still found the story fine. You know, I accidentally played it almost 100% good, except I missed one event, and that was like a not so great I mean, it wasn't necessarily bad. It just
you mean
something that
like
happened that
morality system wise?
yeah, like something I
bad?
could have prevented to make it so it's like something bad didn't happen, and I didn't know I could prevent it. But I was going in blind, right? I was trying to like play the game legit. So
Yeah,
Avowed is
as
my
it's
first of those games that I enjoyed, but is not my game of the year.
okay. That's good. So with Avowed, does it is it one of those because it's like Oblivion, Fallout, or the newer
Oh
Fallout? So it's
yeah,
like so is it one of those games where it's like there are many different types of ways to play? You will always pick Stealth Archer.
yeah. It's like that, except instead of Stealth Archer, I was Wizard / Stealth Gunner
Okay,
guy.
okay.
And the funny part was too, the interesting thing about this game, and I think Outer Worlds 2 or Outer Worlds 1 did it. That was weird for an RPG. Enemies don't respawn. Like if you clear an area, it's empty and it just feels so if you backtrack, it just feels kind of empty.
Kind of like that in theory.
So that was like a big complaint for people playing the game. Also the number of bears that were enemies. There were just a lot of bears for some reason that you'd fight. But I didn't mind it. I also did make it felt weird. It felt like the world died around you as you killed things, right? Like so it's kind of odd, but overall I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the choices I had to make. It was also just I mean it's a Game Pass game. So that made it so it was easy for me to just jump in and have fun doing that. But
Yeah, not feel bad if you put it down.
yeah, very much a first person fantasy style like a la Oblivion and the Outer Worlds if it was like fantasy, right? So I like that a lot. But what is your first game?
The first game, I guess, that I will want to talk about here is a game that I enjoyed thoroughly. Did not finish, although I think I got about 75% of the way through, and I'll come back to it. Is DK Bonanza, Donkey Kong Bonanza on the Switch 2. It's made by the same people at Nintendo that made Super Mario Odyssey, which I didn't love, but I do want to go back to because it's.
You didn't like Odyssey that much?
I don't want to say I didn't like it. I didn't like going there and be like, this is not fun. But I just fell off of it. I was like, I jumped around as Mario for a little while, and I was like, I think it was just not what I was looking for at the time. It was just, and I just never picked it back up. You know, so that's why I want to go back to it because I don't say that to be like this was a bad game or that I didn't enjoy it. It just wasn't what I was looking for at the time, and I think I just put it down because of that. But anyway, so they spent 7-8 years making DK Bonanza, and they did such a good job with making it what feels like a very pure platformer without being like a collectathon the way that Mario Odyssey is or any of the older like rare platformers on N64 and things like that. It's built much more around this destruction system of like basically the whole world is destructible, which seems like that would be bad for difficulty purposes, but they do a really good job of corralling you and keeping you unable to like break the game too much. Although there are a lot of puzzles where the solution feels like you're breaking the game, and it feels awesome when you do it, when you're like, there's no way they thought of this. And then you kind of look back and you're like, there's actually no other way this could have been done. But it's so well designed that they make you feel like you're breaking the game when you solve puzzles in that manner, which I think is really, really fun and speaks to some really great game design. And the whole structure of the game of like drilling deeper and deeper into the planet's core is very cool, and all of the little flourishes in there. You get Pauline comes along with you. She's
Pauline comes back.
Yeah, Pauline comes back from Super Mario Odyssey. I guess was the last time we saw her, and she's a singer in this one as well, and she follows you around, and you were kind of working together in this, which is we talked about Donkey Kong earlier this year, and Pauline is not always cooperative with Donkey Kong, and in this game she very much is, which is really fun to see. So, yeah, that's DK Bonanza. Also, Switch 2 exclusive. There aren't very many of those right now, so if you're looking for something that for your Switch 2 that makes you go, dang, can't do this on anything else, it's DK Bonanza or bust at this point, I think.
I like that. I like the mechanics of things breaking. You know, it's where Battlefield and Donkey Kong collide. Is
Yes.
DK Bonanza.
That's right. DK Bonanza is Battlefield plus Donkey Kong.
Battle Kong.
Yeah.
Donkey Field.
Donkey Field.
We'll work on it. All right, the next one on my list, and I mean, I'm putting it on here because it was a good game, but I also didn't finish the Act 3 or even start the Act 3 ending, was Hollow Knight Silksong.
Okay, tell me more.
Yeah, So I liked this game a lot, and I really I felt good like bashing my head against the wall, for lack of a better term, on beating some of these bosses, because the release of like I beat the boss felt really good. But I kind of got to Act 2, and I beat the final boss, quote in big quotes there, and I just kind of stopped. I just kind of lost momentum. I didn't want to play anymore, and I never came back to it. And then I learned you have to do like all the side missions to unlock Act 3, and I had done almost all of them except for a couple, and I was just like, I don't even have the energy to do that. So maybe I'll come back to it at some point, and maybe my opinion will change. But as of right now, I would say that I'm just kind of like done with Hollow Knight Silksong. Didn't really hold me.
Oh,
So
dang, that was
yeah,
like
which is weird to say.
that's a lot of people's game of the year, I think.
I know, I think so too, and I feel I get where they're coming from because it's a good game. I just, again, like you were saying with the vibes, like my vibes were just off after a certain point of playing that game, and I just didn't feel like playing it anymore. And other games came out, and I just kind of stopped. Which I don't know. Does that make me a filthy casual? Probably.
Yeah, yeah, and you will be judged harshly. History will not look
History
upon
will
you
not
with
look
favor.
fondly upon me. Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
As they should, as is deserved.
It'll
right?
be next to in 300 years, and they're looking at you in the textbook. It'll say "did not finish Hollow Knight Silksong," and the students will slam their book shut.
They're like, is this a historical figure? No, but he should be ashamed. Should be ashamed of what he did.
Or didn't do in this case.
Yeah. And if you've been living in a cave, Hollow Knight Silksong is a platformer with like an action platformer with hard boss fights and Souls-ish mechanics, I would say. But I liked the first Hollow Knight. But what's funny is in the first Hollow Knight, I also didn't finish the whole game. I also played up until that first ending point and I stopped. So maybe I just get mentally exhausted after a certain period of time.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I am an old man.
Maybe
so.
you ought to go back at a certain point
Yeah.
too. I don't know how much you need to be able to remember about the game if you come back in 3 years and you can be like, I have no idea what's happening. Or if you could just keep going from where you left off.
So it might even be just one more quest I have to do. One of the ones where you have to pick up an item and then take it somewhere and not take too much damage. It's one of those. And I just I don't really feel like doing that right now.
Yeah.
I've actually started it like 3 times and then failed and just turned the game off. like I don't
You're
even
like,
want
well,
to do
that's it for me, I guess.
All right, that was my run. Click. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of other stuff. So a lot of stuff for this podcast too. Ooh. Okay.
I did not
So.
play the original Hollow Knight either. I didn't play Silksong. I didn't play the original, although I did just pick them up in the Steam Winter Sale.
Well, so you famously in our podcast, not a Souls mechanics fan. Correct.
Generally speaking, that is correct.
Mm-hmm. And we can thank both Dark Souls and the Ogo Bogo boss of
In
Jedi Fallen Order
Yep.
for that. But I think it's a little bit more endearing in Hollow Knight because it's a 2D platformer and we all played those as kids. Like it feels a little better in that way.
Yeah.
But you're still very much have to like dodge, parry, do some of the things that you would do in Souls games, or Souls-like games. I'm trying to like get away from describing video games like other video games, but it's so easy.
Yeah.
Like Metroidvania, like everyone says Metroidvania or roguelike all the time, but there really is no better way to just be concise to the point. Like if you play video games and someone tells you it's Metroidvania, you know what that means.
Yeah.
So it's like Souls-like, everyone knows what that means. I know every time I say it, From Software gets really excited, right?
Yeah, that's true. It's advertising for all their games. I have a question about the Hollow Knight series, and I think because what really gets me about Souls-like games, generally speaking, is the what I perceive to be a lack of respect for the player's time. Where it's like you die and you go back a ways and you have to like do a corpse run, and it's like I can't just get back to the thing I died on. I have to like fight everything that took me to get there in the first place, and doing the same stuff over and over is what annoys me. How is Hollow Knight about that? Like hard bosses don't bother me as much.
Each game has one or two what I would describe as salty runbacks, okay? Where you have to like go a way farther than you want to. The cool thing about Hollow Knight Silksong is I feel like they took that criticism and they made it so there's only one really bad one that I can remember of being like a really annoying runback, and everything else was kind of closer. Like they kind of put the boss arenas near the benches. I'm also just like completely dismissing a whole two other points of the game, which are the music and the visuals, because it's all drawn, right? It's hand drawn. Like, it looks gorgeous. Like, that's another reason why this game is probably a lot of people's game of the year. It's not even the mechanics of the game, which are good. It's that it just looks really well done, and it's done by three people that clearly care. And yeah, it's good, but it didn't hold my attention. And I even had moments where I was like, this game is awesome. Like, it's killing it, and I just still fell off the bandwagon. So maybe that's just a part of being older and having real life responsibilities is what it seems like. But yeah, I say older, and I'm not that old, but I'm old enough I could start saying older. I think
I'm
so. Allowed to do that.
I think it's we are both at the point where we are over the hill, as the kids would say, or as we said as kids. Maybe the kids don't say that anymore.
As kids, the kids don't say that anymore. I don't think.
No, they'd say,
what do the
we're
kids say?
unk.
If you know what the kids say, we're unk.
We're unk, I think is what the kids say.
It's funny because my nephews are in town, and I have been unk. Bought them a bunch of stuff. Bought them ice cream. I'm like, yeah, this is what uncles do. We buy ice cream and weird sporting event merchandise that'll annoy your parents. That's what I did.
That is good uncle behavior. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the next game on our list, I'm going to say this is on both of our lists. So this is a good one for us to talk about. From the same company that brought us Game of the Year 2-3 years ago with It Takes Two, this year they brought us Split Fiction, Hazelight Games, Hazelight Productions.
Oh man, I liked Split Fiction a lot.
Me too.
But I didn't. It still didn't do it for me as far as like Game of the Year. I played it with one of my good friends. Shout out to Donovan. Shout out to Donovan on the podcast.
Shout out to Donovan.
He'll be okay with that, I think. And we had a really good time. It was. I hadn't played any of the Hazelight games before, so this was my first one.
You didn't play It Takes Two?
I haven't played It Takes Two. Do you want to play it with me?
Yeah.
Okay, let's play it together. Let's do that. But we had a great time playing Split Fiction, and it was. I mean, there's a couple levels in Split Fiction where I don't want to say them because I don't want to spoil it. But the idea of being like they're both storytellers, one sci-fi, one fantasy, and you go into their heads. So that way, like, anything can happen really opens it up for some very funny and fun moments. And that's what I will say. Because, like, there's a certain level that if you played the game, you probably know what I'm talking about. But it did it for me. It made everything great. It made me laugh. It was, like, a highlight of my year in gaming with people, probably. So,
wow.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I have a guess.
I mean... I'll throw out. Okay, this is spoilers. I'm just gonna say 2 words. Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Hot dogs.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's hot dogs. It's always hot dogs.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, that's so. If you haven't played It Takes Two, that's great because we should play that. If you are a person who did not like A Way Out or It Takes Two, this is more of that. So. This game isn't going to make you love those unless it's like the setting that didn't grab you about those games, but you loved the gameplay. Then maybe the setting of the dual settings of the fantasy and sci-fi, which really, really play well off of each other. And the story between the two main characters is really, really good.
It's kind of I thought it was you like. I mean, I didn't mind it, but I was like, we're not covering any new ground here. That's kind of how I took it.
Sure, it's not like saying anything. About the human condition that other things aren't, but I don't know. I liked it. I didn't love the sort of meta stuff of like the evil corporation trying to steal their ideas. I was I wish they had found a better framing device than that. But the two of them go at sort of working out their own life problems as they go through theirs and each other's worlds. Some of the worlds are like worlds that they never actually published anything about. It's just stuff that they wrote about, when they were kids, when they were first starting or out writing. And it's like the seeing the ways that they dealt with their problems through writing and then working through those by working through the worlds, I think was really cool. Of course, you have to work together. These are games that cannot be played single player. You have to have another person with you. And that's part of why you only need to buy one copy of it. The other person who doesn't own it can like download which
I love. I love that. It's such a cool idea to make it. It also doesn't feel money grubby, which is good because the entire point of the game is corporations. Kind of the message they're sending is corporations are bad for art. Is kind of the message they're sending in the whole game. So if they charged you for 2 copies, that would be kind of messed up.
Yeah, and also because the game is literally unplayable with just 1 copy, it seems silly to even it seems irresponsible to even offer it that way. You know what I mean? So you don't have to buy 2 copies of it, and it's so fun, and especially some of the later levels just get very technically impressive too, with the ways that they go back and forth between the worlds. I don't want to spoil too much, but there's some really, really cool stuff there. So yeah, if you liked the other Haze Light games, this is more of that. You will also probably love this. The co-op mechanics are novel because every level has a different mechanic that they're playing with, which I'm still impressed that they're able to come up with new mechanics so often, because they've been doing this for 3 games now, and every game is like that, where it's just especially It Takes Two and Split Fiction, every level is a different mechanic, a different co-op mechanic, and they explore those mechanics so well. They're clever to begin with, and then they're also deeply explored, but then they're gone, and then you just move on to the next level, and it's a totally new thing, and so they don't overstay their welcome either. It's just really, really perfectly balanced in that sense. I really loved it, and when It Takes Two got Game of the Year at the Game Awards a couple of years ago, I was like, that was worth it. I mean, that deserved it, and I think Split Fiction deserved to be on that list this year. This was a pretty stacked year in terms of games, so I'm not surprised that it didn't get it at the Game Awards, but it deserved to be on the list for sure.
Yeah, my one thing about the story, I thought, and this was just while I was playing it, I was like, they could have just simplified it. They didn't need the evil corporation. They could have just been these are 2 writers with writer's block. We made this machine to plug them in together to help each other out, and then they work through their problems. That would have been a fine enough story, I think.
Yeah,
it's just the whole corporate angle just felt really forced, and it was kind of Tyler and I did theater at WSU, Washington State University.
Go Cougs.
And there was a professor there that loved symbolism and would beat you in the face with it, and that's kind of what the corporation story felt like.
Yeah.
It felt like they were just heavy-handing it on you constantly, and I was like, all right, that's fine. That's the parts though when they would talk about them as people though, I thought was good. So, but yeah, I dug the game though.
Yeah, super fun. Yeah, so that's Split Fiction, I guess.
All right, my next one is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Tell me about this one, Mike, because I bounced off of it after about 2 hours. I was like, this is cool. I can tell people will like this. Not for me.
Dude, wait a second. I goofed. This is a 2024 game.
Oh, gosh.
What? I could have... December 9th, 2024.
Oh, okay.
It tricked me.
It can kind of be in this conversation then, I think.
I think I talked about it though last time, didn't I?
You might have. If so, then
But it was on the Game of the Year this year, right? It was put in the Game of the Year awards, or no? Am I wrong?
The Game Awards 2025. That's a good question, because
I'm just not going to talk about it because I got enough games already. I don't need this one. So I'm wrong. Strike through. Goodbye. Okay. Let's talk about one that definitely came out this year because I wouldn't shut up about it for 5 episodes, and that is Battlefield 6.
Yeah. By the way, the Game Awards, for however much you value their opinions on these things, did include Indiana Jones and Great Circle this year. So
this year? Okay. Yes. So maybe that's where I got it from. But it's a 2024 game. We're not going to talk about it.
Okay, great.
Take that. Because we might have talked about it last year, and I just don't remember, so I don't want to, rehash up another thing. Okay, but Battlefield 6 really brought back the classic Battlefield feeling of, the term epic is used way too much now, but epic blockbuster movie feeling moments where you're, jumping out of a jet, RPGing another jet, jumping into their jet, that kind of ridiculous stuff, right? And I think that was really strong for me. It also made it so it's more about accruing guns and unlocking things through challenges in the game, which is what I loved about Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3 that they kind of other games have gotten away from. And I think Battlefield 5 and Battlefield, what was the other one? Hardline still did it, but it wasn't
2042.
2042. That's the other one.
Hardline was
5 and
10 years ago.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's so long ago. Okay, so Battlefield 2042 and Battlefield 5 did it, just not as well. Like, to me, the best Battlefield before Battlefield 6 was Battlefield 1, the World War one. And that was fun because you could just get on a horse, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
and
that was fun.
Yeah. But I would say it's just really good for me. The single player story is kind of like just there. It's like generic. I would call it generic war movie, is what I would say. And then but the multiplayer really shines through, and it seems like they're kind of updating it a lot. Like, they're adding events and they're doing things to it to make the gameplay different. Like, they added a winter event where you could like slowly freeze over time if you weren't near these fires, and when you freeze, your health wouldn't regenerate. So it kind of like incentivized you to move around a little more, which I thought was neat. So I would say that it's a good game, but it's not game of the year because it's really just making Battlefield like it was before. That's the big tell for me. Good, but not really groundbreaking or anything in any way.
Yeah. I feel like it's like every other Battlefield. They're going, we're getting back to the roots, everybody. We're going back to what make Battlefield great. And then we get a game that's like fine, and then the next game will be bad again.
Yeah, and 2042 I think was really trying to push the Portal, like the community made stuff.
Yeah.
But it just didn't hit because the population kind of died on it, right? But in Battlefield 6, the population's still holding as far as I know. It still like lost some people when Call of Duty came out, which is just a thing that's going to happen. But people are still building stuff in the Portal, which is nice. By the way, tangent time. Do you have the button ready? You're always on the ready. I love that. Okay. You mentioned Split Fiction not repeating mechanics, which made me think, okay, Destiny, plates and balls. We've been doing plates and balls for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And then I thought of this again because did you see, I think I sent it to you, there's a guy in Halo Forge that made a raid.
Yes, I watched that because, yeah, you sent that video to me, and it was pretty cool that he was able to do that.
And he even said his number one rule was avoid plates and balls and like use the Halo mechanics to like make it so the Halo mechanics are where the raid mechanics come from, not like Destiny mechanics brought into Halo, which I thought was really cool. So this is just a tangent that I thought of, but I was like, okay, if Split Fiction can make an entire game where the levels are different, the mechanics are different in every level, then other games that have these like raid activities, I'm meaning Destiny, but I'm not just calling out only Destiny because I feel like other things are culprits of this. You can make new mechanics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can.
We've been doing plates and balls
things
for like 10 years. It's time.
Yeah, it's time to leave the plates and balls. Do I love throwing a football at my buddy and charging it up? Yeah, I do. But we got to get away from plates and balls.
Yeah, and it's okay to have them in there. Just don't. You got to get some new stuff in there too. And I guess I haven't played some of the more recent raids. I never played. There's got to be a new raid out now, right? For the new expansion.
There's the one for Renegade.
Yeah.
No, that's a dungeon actually.
Oh, well, still, I mean, same thing. Dungeons is 3.
There's also the Final Shape raid. We never played that. The raid.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
There's a raid for Final Shape because we played the final mission, which is like a 12-player activity.
Yeah, I guess you're right. What was Root of Nightmares? That wasn't Final Shape, was it?
No, it wasn't. That was before.
That was like the last.
But honestly, I couldn't even tell you what was that. Savathun? Was that no?
It was Lightfall. Dang.
Oh gosh, yeah, it was forever ago.
Time as a flat circle.
Yeah, but I just thinking of Split Fiction made me think of that, and then that Halo one. If you haven't watched the Halo video of the guy that made a raid in Halo Forge, it's awesome, and you should watch it. Let me see if I can find who did it real quick because I want to be able to give him a shout out, give him some props.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking through Tyler and I's text messages. Okay, yeah, here it is. So it's the video is titled "I Made an Entire Raid," and then parentheses in Halo, and it's by Madman Epic. So go check out that video if you haven't yet. It's just really cool to watch someone's whole thought process and how they made something. And what's crazy is streamers and stuff are playing it. Like Dado, who's like a Destiny streamer, got a crew together to play it, which is cool. Like, I think that's kind of neat. So, all right, that's my tangent. It's over. It's overtime.
Okay.
Overtime?
Sure. Yeah, why not? Yeah,
right,
looks like we missed out on 2 raids. We missed out on Salvation's Edge from the Final Shape. That's the one you were just talking about, I think. And then the Desert Perpetual is the newest one that came out.
Salvation's Edge sounds like a ride at Disneyland.
Is that Galaxy's Edge?
It sounds like a ride actually at a Christian theme park.
Salvation's Edge.
You guys ride Salvation's Edge?
Yeah, it's wild.
Animatronic Jesus was so realistic. Okay.
Okay. I guess the next one that we can talk about here is we're veering into like remake category here because we did get quite a few remakes this year. But I do think that the Tony Hawk 3 and 4 remake is worth talking about, even if just briefly to say, dude, if you liked the 1 and 2 remake from 2020, this is that, but 3 and 4. There was a lot of talk about how they sort of took because Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, if you recall, had a much more open world. This was like before Underground, so it didn't quite have the story that Underground did, but it had this, you could get off your board and run around, and your runs in career mode weren't timed. You would just go like talk to NPCs and like get the mission from them, and then that would be timed. They removed that and they sort of made it just more traditional Tony Hawk style. I would argue that is for the better because I don't think that worked very well in the original Tony Hawk 4. And actually, most of my experience with the original Tony Hawk 4 was the PlayStation version, the PS1 version, which I think was much more closely. It didn't have quite as much of the open world stuff, if I recall correctly. I think it made the game a little bit better to take it back to Tony Hawk 3 style. I hope they don't do that if they ever do Tony Hawk Underground remakes. I hope they don't do that. I hope they actually like do the open world stuff with the story that was cool. But I think for the purposes of 4, it still makes it a better game to just kind of remove some of that stuff.
I loved Underground. I was a big fan of that.
Yeah, Underground was great.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I played 4. I played 1, 2, and 3, skipped 4, played Underground, and then ended up playing Project 8.
Yeah.
Randomly.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They
started to fall off pretty hard after Underground too.
Yeah. Have we talked about Tony Hawk games on the podcast? Have we done this?
Oh man, we've been doing this for so long. I don't remember. I think we have. If we haven't, we put it on the list for this year.
Put it on the list for this year. That's games that you and I have played a lot of. So it's like we don't even really need to play the games. We just need to do the research on development and go for it. I think.
Yeah. I played a lot of Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk 3 is one of the few games that GameSpot, at least back in the day, they gave a perfect 10 to. It was like that, Ocarina of Time, and something else.
Wow.
I don't know if they have inflated their review scores since then, but I know for a long time Tony Hawk 3 was like a perfect 10 game, and which is kind of crazy to think about. Just like this skateboarding game is no notes, perfect,
Yeah. Remember when that used to be rare, when they wouldn't do masterpieces all the time?
Yeah.
But I feel like IGN gives 10s out constantly.
Yeah.
But,
well, when we've had this conversation before about review scores and how I feel about the 1 to 10 score, but anything below a 7 is trash.
Yeah, I just think they shouldn't do scores anymore. I think they should they should write about the game, review it, and then let you come to your own conclusion based on what the person wrote about. Like, we don't need, scores is such an internet thing. Like, it's just, it seems kind of weird. But I loved this. I didn't finish it. I played a little bit of it. Like, I would kind of just jump in and out of it, and I was like, this is just a good game to I got 5 minutes, play Tony Hawk's 3 and 4. In fact, I think I still have it downloaded just because it's one of those games that I'll come back to.
Yep, I do that. So. I do it all the time. I love that they added, they kept, I think, most of the skaters from the originals, but then there's also a bunch of new ones of people who are like famous now that maybe weren't even born when Tony Hawk 3 came out, which I was very pleasantly surprised to see that stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, kind of keeping that skateboarding video game tradition alive and renewing it in a way. Which is cool.
I hope they do the Underground games next. It would be very cool to have like maybe a connected story where you just like play through both of them. I don't know how well the stories for Underground 1 and 2 connect, but
I honestly could not tell you anything about the Underground story, and I played it.
They may not have aged very well too, because they were like in that like sort of jackass era of MTV, like let's prank people and like be silly Steve-O stuff, which maybe hasn't aged very well.
Yeah, probably not. Oh man, yeah, I like that though. Do you want me to do my game next?
Yeah.
My game? Okay, so my next game, and this is truly like second or third place. I have 3 more games left, and this is third place, but the other 2 are kind of torn between both being first. Doom: The Dark Ages.
Tell me more.
I liked it.
I didn't play it at all.
You didn't play it at all?
I still fire up Doom Eternal once in a while, and I play this spot I'm stuck on. I give it 2 more tries, like once every 6 months, and I still can't beat it. And I put it down.
We got to do this together because I don't consider myself an expert, but I have gotten all the achievements and beaten all the games, and I'm
I
obsessed
mean, that's
with them.
pretty expert.
Yeah,
If you ask
I
me.
don't play it on like the hardest difficulty though. Like I don't go back and play it on super hard difficulties. But Doom: The Dark Ages, I feel like it was significantly easier than the Doom Eternal. It was like because Doom 2016, kind of the perfect level of difficulty for me. It was hard, but it wasn't
Loved
super
it.
annoying. It was like it was just great, right? It was a new thing. Well, remaking an old thing to make it feel that way, right? Doom Eternal definitely got a little more platformy than I wanted it to, a little harder, but still fun. Doom the Dark Ages kind of slowed it down, and when they said they like made you a tank, you really are like the shield does so much different it gives the game a very different vibe.
Hmm.
And whereas in Doom Eternal you would like spam your fire button to get more armor back, or you'd spam like chainsaw to get more ammo back. In this game, it's like you kind of don't have to worry about that as much. You still do it, but it's not as necessary. I feel like they give you ammo everywhere.
Mm.
So I just would say give Doom Eternal a go. Give it a go. I think the story is ridiculous and not that great, but
You mean Dark
it's
Ages?
Dark Ages. Yeah,
Yeah.
Give Doom the Dark Ages a go. The story is like fine, but you also get to be in a giant Doom mech,
That's
and that's
cool.
just cool. It's just cool.
So
And
I'm not going to be lost in the story if I didn't play Eternal.
No, the story is just it's all over the place. Cthulhu shows up. You're gonna have a great time.
Oh, sweet. All right. Well,
Although
do
I
you
think they call
recommend
him, like,
mouse
the
and keyboard
ancient
or
one.
controller for this one?
I do mouse and keyboard with Doom
Okay.
personally because it's first person shooter. It feels better to me on mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
But you could definitely controller it. You could do it. It's
Controller,
got the
play on the
vibes for
TV.
controller. Yeah, you definitely have that. But I loved it. I had a good time with it, and when I finished it, I was like, that was like a good amount of game, and I'm done. Like
Yeah.
it's also got that thing that Doom Eternal has though, where the levels are long. So you got to be like, I'm committing an hour to playing this game
Okay.
to beat the level. So think of it that way too. But I liked it, and I think other people should play it and experience it, especially if you were kind of intimidated by Doom Eternal or Doom 2016. It's very much more of an entry level kind of action game, and I think it got people in for that, like because the shield and the Captain America chainsaw shield really did that. That move alone makes you feel pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, but that's like my one of my runners up is how I'll put it.
Okay. Well, I will move on to one of my runners up. So we're at these are in like really no particular order except for like the first one and then like the top three. So we'll give you my first runner up, which is I haven't finished this game yet, but I feel safe in putting it in like the sort of number three if we are numbering these. Pokemon Legends ZA.
Ooh, nice.
I have spent a lot of time with this one, and that is sort of rare with video games for me these days. I play a bunch of them, but I don't always spend a ton of time on each one. This one I've spent a bit of time with. I haven't finished it yet, so but I've been putting in some solid hours. Maybe I can crank out the ending today, actually. But I really enjoy the risks that they're taking with the gameplay because it's not turn-based. It feels a little bit more almost like a WoW, like tab targeting, like MMO, a little bit in some ways. Positioning matters very much. The you still only have 4 moves. I don't know if this is a new thing because I haven't played any of the newer Pokemons like Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet or whatever. I haven't really
I
played
played
those.
Scarlet and Violet.
So I don't know if this is a mechanic that is new, is part of those games, but you can, as long as you're not in a battle, you can just switch out the moves on your Pokemon sort of at any time. You don't have to like go to somebody to delete the moves. You can just be like, oh, they have learned this move, or I have the TM for it, which TMs don't get used up. I know that's been a mechanic for a while. But so you can be constantly swapping moves out for specific fights. And in this one, it's very cool because there are certain things that have like an AoE effect. You can fight more than one Pokemon at a time and not in that like 2v2 battle mode, like turn-based mode that other games have, but like just up in the wild, like 5 Bellsprouts will come gang up on you. And if you have a big AoE move, you could take them all out in one like fire blast, you know? So that's been really fun. Things I don't love about it, I think the combat system feels a little bit like they didn't fully bake it. Like there are a lot of things that seem to, where positioning seems to matter. However, I don't feel like I have great control over my Pokemon's positioning. So but maybe this is like a get good scrub thing. Maybe there are moves that like you actually do have a lot of control over. You're just not utilizing those moves, which is maybe true. Um, but it doesn't feel like I have that. But I would love to see this battle system get expanded on a bit more in the future. I don't have a problem with the open world stuff that people have said. Like it takes place all in one big city, Lumiose City, from the X and Y games. It's big enough, like it doesn't feel too small. And there's a lot to do in the city. If you are looking for the Pokemon journey of like starting in your hometown and like moving through every city and then like eventually making it to the end, you don't really get that because there is not really a pathway in that sense. But it's still really fun. I think the thing that annoys me the most about it is that it feels like it was made an indie game made on an indie budget. And come on, Pokemon should have the budget, more budget than any video game ever. Like it really should. And the fact that they are not spending money on making these games, I know they don't have to because they sell and it's fine. Like I understand the economic argument for why they don't spend very much money on these games or why it seems like they don't spend very much money on these games. But I wish they would because imagine a GTA budget for a Pokemon game. That would be so fun. And this just feels like a game made by some indie devs who picked up Unity and like, it literally is made in Unity, I believe. So it's like,
really?
Yeah. And it's like the textures are repeating and the buildings kind of all look the same. And it's just like, the art style is fine, but it just feels low effort in a way that it doesn't have to,
That's kind of what Violet felt like to me too. It's like, okay, this is Pokemon, one of the biggest franchises in the world, and you're kind of phoning it in to get it out. It felt like they were phoning it in to get the game out faster.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah. No voice acting. It is 2026, 2025 when this game came out. Pokemon doesn't have the budget for voice acting? Come on.
Yeah.
Like
it's wild.
And I don't think there is a very good like artistic argument for like, well, Pokemon doesn't need voices because of this, that, and the other reason. I just wish that it did. I wish that they put more effort into it, that they gave it the budget that it deserves. That's the only thing that bums me out about it. So, yeah. Pokemon Legends. But I do recommend it. The Nintendo Switch 2 version is very good. It runs at 60 frames per second. The graphics are much improved over the original Switch version. If you watch a Digital Foundry video, they do a pretty in-depth comparison, and they will tell you all about how even the Switch 2 version is a little bit unacceptable for what we should be expecting from Nintendo on a Pokemon game these days.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Good to know. I haven't played it yet, so it's good to know. I don't know if I'll get it just because of my experience with Violet was I played it really heavy, and then I took a long break, and then I just went back and beat the Elite Four, and I was done. That's how I played it. It was like long. It was like a 6-month in between break. So yeah, that's kind of how I did it. But my last two games, I kind of want to talk about them both at the same time because this is where I was torn. So is that all right? Do you have one game left? Do you have one winner for sure?
I have one winner for sure. That will be no one's surprise.
Okay. Do you have two games left though, or do you only have one? You do. Okay.
Yeah.
So then let me not do that. Then let me just talk about my runner-up. Okay, my second place game.
Okay.
And so I was deliberating between, do I pick a game of the year because I think it's innovative and fresh and new? And my example would be like Balatro was last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or do I pick a game because I love it? And it's just, this is my opinion. I love this game. Is it the game of the year? Probably no. But to me, it is. And so I'm going with that. That's the opinion I'm going with. So my runner-up for a innovative, probably a game of the year to more people than mine is Blueprints.
Tell me more.
So
I have
you
played
played Blueprints?
Nope.
Okay. Blueprints, I should have brought up a page because it's really interesting how they did it. So it's a roguelike puzzle game where you draft rooms that you go into. So the story is you're like a 14-year-old kid. Your rich uncle dies, says, if you find room 46 in this house, then you will take the house. That's your like challenge to win, to earn your inheritance essentially. And every day the rooms move. It's a magical house. Every day the rooms move. Is it magical or is it mechanical? We don't really know. That's beyond us, right? But the point is it moves. And So you walk into the house, you go down a hallway, and then three choices pop up, and you draft rooms, and you can dead end yourself if you draft wrong, or if you, or you sometimes you want to dead end yourself because you need a certain resource, and you run out of steps, and steps are the amount that it takes to go into each room, right? So you start with a certain number of steps. When you're out of steps, the day ends, and you restart again the next day. And I am not a big roguelike guy. I am not a big puzzle guy, but the way this game was set up with the mystery of it all and what you're doing really got in my brain and it latched on to me. And I found room 46. There was so much more for me to do, but I kind of stopped because other games were coming out. But the coolest part to me, the coolest fact about this whole game, and I'm actually going to look up blueprints right now so I can tell you, because so when we were kids, and I don't know if you experienced or not, Tyler, there was a book that came, like a physical book called Maze, Solve the World's Most Challenging Puzzle. And it was like a choose your own adventure style book where you flip through and you try to find things to solve the puzzles, right?
I do not.
And this
remember
book was so popular. It's out of print now. It's just like fancy illustrations. And it directly inspired this game. So the person that built this game, it was one person, loved that book so much that they built a video game like it, and it just became a huge hit. Like I just couldn't like get over how cool it is. Like, 'cause I remember this book as a kid, like, cause I had some nerdy friends. Okay, as a child, so pretty nerdy friends. I remember looking at this book, and now if you want to buy a copy of the book, it's like hundreds of dollars. Just so you know.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, cause it's out of print and it's pretty popular still, and also unsolved still. There are puzzles in this book that came out in 1985 that have still not been solved. So
Wow.
it's kind of
Does that
crazy.
mean they're good puzzles, or does that mean they're bad puzzles?
That might mean they're bad puzzles, honestly. Or people are just saying there's puzzles that are unsolved and maybe they're not. I don't know. But I just thought that I've never heard of a game being influenced gameplay wise by a book like this. Usually it's always you're influenced by a story, right? But this is the first time I've seen a book directly influence gameplay, and then the game itself turned out so well. So I love Blueprints. I will probably I'm kind of giving it some time to like leave my brain so I can like come back to it a year or two from now, because I think that's like a fun way to play these kind of puzzle games, is like you kind of forget, let your mind wander and forget, and then come back. But this is my second place choice. And also it's got this like cell shaded art style, and the music's really chill. So I would just say give it a go. If you haven't given it a go, and if you're looking for something chill to do, you can also just draft a room and play that day, and then like step back and then do something else, which I really enjoy. It's kind of like a little mental puzzle exercise. So
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's my
should
second place.
check it out because it's on Game Pass, right?
it is. That's how I played it, and that's how I found it. And then me and our friend Brad got very into it, and he was like trying not to spoil things for me, but then I was getting stuck, and then I had an aha moment that felt pretty cool. So it was just like it's a good game. So I would check it out if you can.
All right. I will have to check that one out. Okay. So my runner-up for Game of the Year is an RPG game, turn-based RPG game. It's Final Fantasy Tactics, the Evil East Chronicles. It's a remake, but I don't care. Remakes are fine on this list. It's on our list. We make up the rules. I did not play Final Fantasy Tactics back in the day. For a long time, did not consider myself a fan of the tactical turn-based RPG genre. I'm not really sure why that was, but then I played a game called Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle in like 2017, and
That you told me to play.
loved that game so much. And then I realized that this is just a tactical turn-based RPG, and actually you love these kinds of games, Tyler. So from there I've played the second one, which I haven't finished yet. Actually, I need to play that. And I've played Persona 5 Tactica and a few other games like that. But this one was kind of the white whale in terms of like, it wasn't obviously the first tactical RPG, but it was kind of a really big one from back in the day. I didn't play it when it was brand new. And I was going to go back to it, but then I heard through that there were rumors they were going to be remaking it. And then of course they announced a remake of it. So then I never actually played the original version because I was going to wait for this remake. I'm glad I did. The remake is so good. They added voice acting to everything. They updated all of the graphics. They probably did some class balancing and things like that, but I don't know the original. So I cannot vouch for that if they did a good job. I will say that the difficulty level on this, even on like story mode difficulty where you're not supposed to struggle, and maybe again I just need to get good, I had a really hard time with even the lowest difficulty, and so that was kind of frustrating because I think a tactical RPG is a fun game when you are having a challenging battle where you're really having to think about all of the moves that you're making. When you are just grinding for experience points or job points in this game, the fights are not that fun, and you can just turn on auto battle. But even the auto battle like has like several layers to it on this that you can't just like hit a button and just like watch the game play itself. You have to like hit 10 buttons and then watch the game play itself, which is kind of frustrating. And those fights are not particularly interesting, so they just feel like a time sink. And so I was hoping that by playing on an easier difficulty, I wouldn't have to do that. Still had to do that. But I still really, really enjoyed this game. The storyline is really fun, very like Game of Thronesy. It's very political in its nature. If you've played Final Fantasy 12, it's in the same sort of universe as 12, although the stories don't really interact very much as far as I know. But the same style, like 12, is definitely like a lot of political intrigue and stuff like that. So highly recommend it. They also include the original version with the remake, which I think is very interesting. And I haven't played that at all, but it's just the original PlayStation graphics, sprites, and I guess it's 4:3. It's not ultra wide or widescreen.
That's cool to do, though.
Yeah,
it's really cool they did that, I think.
Yeah, I think the story behind that is that because games, especially games made by Japanese companies in the 90s, when they finished making the game, they just like deleted all their source code. They were like, well, game's out. We don't need any of this anymore. And then, of course, 20 years later, when they go back to try to remake these games, they actually have to remake it. They can't just take the old source code and adapt it. So the storyline here, which I choose to believe, is that they remade the whole game in its original form first to sort of learn how to make this game, and then from there they took that and adapted it to give it all of the upgrades and stuff that the Evil East Chronicles did. So highly recommend it, love it. It's my number 2. What's your number 2, Mike?
Well, I did my number 2 as Blueprints.
Oh, what's your number 1?
I'm on my number 1. Okay, so this is I cannot preface this enough. This is my game of the year. I understand it's probably no one else's game of the year, but this one is mine. And I've talked about it a million times. I got all the achievements on it, and it's Jurassic World Evolution 3.
Yeah.
I am obsessed with dinosaur park sims. It just scratches an itch in my brain. I can't explain it. I don't know what this is, but I love it, and I will not apologize for it anymore. I know who I am, okay? Yep. And it's just... They added baby dinosaurs, so now there's this whole cute thing where you got to like breed the dinosaurs, and they have all these different scenarios where it teaches you the game, and then it modifies the scenarios and makes it so you have to play differently and think differently. And I found that really fun, especially so Jurassic World Evolution 2 had this thing called Chaos Theory, which was their like challenge mode, and I really liked it. The new Jurassic World 3 just calls it challenge and does it a little differently, but it's still pretty fun, and it has you think in different ways. Like, for example, you can finally use terrain as fence instead of like fences.
Okay.
So you can build rockeries that make a pen or a paddock for your dinosaurs to be in. So there's one challenge where you cannot build a ton of fences. You have like a finite amount of fences you can build. And that lets you use the rockery thing to like make it, which I think is really neat. And it's just a fun game. I'm looking forward to the DLC. I'll buy it first day. I don't even care. It's like, this is just me. This is just what I like. And I'm accepting what I like. Okay. So yeah, and that's why I was torn between Blueprints and this, because I'm like, I get that Blueprints is the innovative new indie game, and I'm like, I just like dinosaur park sims.
Sorry, nothing else stood a chance this year.
Sorry.
There was a Jurassic World Evolution. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, next year it won't be Jurassic World Evolution because there won't be any. But will I talk about the DLCs? Probably. I probably will. So, yeah, that's just my game of the year. What's your game of the year, Tyler?
Well, yeah, I'm going to do a complete 180 from you and pick I'm not picking this because it's the safe option. It just, when it's good, and it's Expedition 33. Claire Obscure, Expedition 33. It had me hooked from the very first trailer that they showed at like the Game Awards or something last year. And they had me at turn-based Final Fantasy inspired RPG with that looks a lot like Final Fantasy X in terms of the battle system, which is true. I love that every character plays differently and has different unique mechanics, and they all interplay with each other as well. The way that certain characters can set things up for other characters, I think, works really, really well in this game. Graphics are great. The story is just has you sobbing at the end. There are no good endings. You know, every ending is sad. I hope that's not too much of a spoiler. The game is a real downer. Just the whole time.
I've heard it's a real downer. I've heard it's like oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yes. The game, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's not too long. It's like 35 hours in the main storyline, and then there's a New Game Plus, which I do want to go back and play through it again with the New Game Plus and try to do a little bit more of the stuff. While each character has their own sort of mechanic, there is a vast system of pictos that you can customize them, that give them different stats or give them different passive abilities and things like that, and those are sort of shared amongst them. So you build your team based on the characters and how you want them to interact with each other, and then you fill up their picto slots with things that interact well with each other. There's a parry system, so if you can, and it's not forgiving at all. If you can nail it, a parry, you take no damage and you deal an absurd amount of damage back. You can also dodge, which has a much larger window. You just take no damage. You don't actually get to do a counter attack. And some of the bosses later on, you really have to be counterattacking or at least dodging because they will one-shot you. And then of course there are some builds that are just absolutely busted. Of course, too. You know, there are people out here figuring out how to one-shot the super hard boss by
which you love.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff though. Let people do that.
I am fine with that stuff, especially as long as the broken stuff is like difficult to achieve. Like it's like, oh, you got to grind for 200 hours to get this one picto, but once you get that one, it's a single player game. Like, let me break the game. You know, that's kind of fun. That's like part of it, especially with these systems that are so customizable, and that's kind of what you want to be able to do is find those things that feel like secrets. You know. So I just loved it. I know I don't need to say too much more about it because everybody else has already said everything about it. It won a bunch of Games of the Year award because it's just great. It's just really good. And if you're out here sitting on the fence because you're like, there's no way it's that good. Everybody says it. Like, it just is. Like, I don't know what to tell you. This is the kind of game that we should be rewarding. Obviously, if you didn't like it, that's fine. You're not wrong. Nobody's wrong. But I think we should be out here rewarding this kind of game being made because and then you hear all the stories like it was made by 30 people and it feels like a AAA game, and people even discussing if it deserves to be called an indie game because it looks and feels so much like so high polish. You know, I don't know how else to describe it.
I thought indie would be the description of like who makes it. You know, that's to me like what it is. If it's a small studio, it's independent, then it's an indie game. Doesn't matter what it looks like.
I agree with that. And we can get into the like, well, if it's published by a major publisher, does that mean it's indie? Maybe, maybe not. There are some games that then are like up for indie awards that actually aren't indie. And then there are games like this that I think can qualify as indie, but then there are people who are saying, well, it's not indie because of this reason. And also look, I don't know. There's a little bit of a controversy there over whether this game is actually indie. And I think it is, but
yeah, I think it is too. I know Dave the Diver had that issue because it found out like everyone thought Dave the Diver was an indie game, and it turns out it was made by like a bigger studio with a lot of funding, and that changed everyone's mind. Not to say it's not a good game. I think people love that game, and I've heard it's very good. But that's just one of the cases of this happening.
Yeah, that's the game that I was searching for. I knew there was an example of like a game that looks and feels like an indie game, but is definitely just not. And that's okay. Like, it's not to say that if you are not an indie studio that you have to make some big, huge game. You can make a Dave the Diver. But
I heard Dave the Diver is funny because some of my friends played it, and instead of doing the game mechanic of scuba diving, they just ran the sushi restaurant. That was what they thought was the most fun, and I love that for them.
All right. I didn't play it, so
you can do that. I haven't played it either. Give it a go. I've heard so much about Claire Obscure, and I'm not a big JRPG guy, right?
Well, it's
this
French,
sounds a little different. Yeah, I was saying, does anyone call it Final Fantasy? Because that's what I think of it should call it. But I wanna try it. I want to give it a go. I'll give it a go. It's also one of those things where I don't want to feel super bummed out right now, so I'm kind of waiting until I'm in the mood for it.
Oh, it is a bummer.
I've heard a lot of people tell me, everyone that's played it that has talked to me about it has told me it's a bummer.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna wait until I'm ready.
It starts out very sad, and then it never gets better.
It's very sad, and it's sad the whole way through.
Yeah.
Game of the year.
Game of the year. Yep. But it does make you feel feelings, and it is a very good story, even if it's a real bummer of a story.
That's good. Okay. Well, that makes me happy. I'm glad we did this. That was our 2025 games of the year for us, our personal games of the year. Okay.
How else would you do it? These are the actual games of the year, the objective games of the year.
Yeah, I think it's because like every major media outlet is like, no, this is the game of the year. But in reality, it's like their game of the year, right?
Yeah,
I mean, even the Game Awards, it's like, come on now, like what's going on here? We don't know. Also, and this is just my tinfoil hat brain a little bit, being like, we don't know how they're picking these. Like, could they be getting some friendship funding? You know, who knows what's going on here?
Maybe,
so it's like,
yeah.
You never know.
It's like what they say, at least. They say it's like 90% industry, 10% is the votes from the people, which it kind of mirrors the Academy Awards, I think, like for movies and stuff, which I think is probably the right way to do it, because otherwise Wuthering Waves would have won every category, because that was the only one that was like 100% picked by the community, by everybody, I guess, by just like open vote. And the games that will win that are every time going to be these gacha games, because Wuthering Waves was like, if we win this category, everybody gets 10 billion Wuthering Waves bucks. And so, of course, everybody who plays that game goes out there and votes for it, and then they all got their 10 billion wave bucks. I don't know what the currency is in that game.
It's weird, man. It's a weird thing, yeah.
Yeah, so they would...
We should do a history of gacha games, because I don't know anything about them. I just know they have a gambling element to them.
Yes.
So we should talk about those sometime. Well, before we get too sidetracked, what you been playing?
Pokemon Legends, ZA. That's it. That's all I've been playing right now. Although I did play Super Mario Land yesterday from start to finish. That was very fun.
Ooh, that's fun.
I'm a little Mii Mini. I played that. Yeah, that's a game I've played 100,000 times, so that's not really...
Dude, I love playing games like that, though. Your comfort games.
Yep.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
I have been playing a game for this very podcast using a PlayStation 2 emulator, and I'm not going to tell you what it is.
I know what it is. So that
way you know what it is, but that way it's a little bit of a teaser for potentially next week. We'll see when I get it done. I'm trying it. This is going to give a little bit of away, but there's different options of what kind of character to play as. So I'm like trying all the options I can to kind of feel it out. And then I'm going to go and play the whole story. And I think I found what I like. But the coolest part is I got retro achievements working, and I am loving getting retro achievements.
Me
I love
too.
it so much. Retroachievements.org. Check it out. It's a great website. So with that, if you want to support us, just go ahead and tell your friends about us. Give us positive reviews on Apple or Spotify, wherever you listen to us. That helps out a lot. Follow our YouTube channel. Follow our TikTok, our Instagram, all that stuff. We have it all now. We even have a Facebook page now that I'm posting videos on. I've made some changes and posted videos on there. Yeah, I know you did this because it's
I'm like, I didn't know.
Who's on Facebook? But we did. I got it. We got it going. We are. We're on Facebook.
It's where the olds are.
Go ahead and... That's right. It's where our fellow olds are. Remember when we were kids and that was new? Oh, man. And by kid, I mean 18 years old. Okay. So with that, Tyler, do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Yeah. Goodbye, everybody.